like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, get this. The Detroit Lions.
The Lions?
Yeah, they just pulled off an insane win against the Vikings.
No way.
Yeah, and snagged the NFC's #1 seed.
Wow.
So we're diving deep into this game.
Okay.
Using this article from MLive.com.
Sounds good.
We're talking record-breaking performances, a defense that just wouldn't quit, and a running back who's turning heads left and right.
You know, it's crazy. Both these teams had 14 wins coming into this game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The most combined wins ever in a regular season matchup. NFL history.
Well, that's got to be some kind of record. So the stakes were high for this one, right?
For sure.
But before we jump into the highlights, can you paint us a picture of the scene? I mean, we're talking two powerhouses, both with these crazy good offenses, both gunning for the division title. What was the feeling going into this matchup?
You know, I think everyone knew it was going to be...
Oh, nail-biter?
Yeah, total nail-biter.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, both these teams, the Lions and the Vikings, they've been dealing with injuries all season.
Ah, right.
Especially in defense.
Yeah.
And everyone was wondering, how are they going to adjust? How are they going to adapt, especially going up against such high-powered offenses?
Okay, so let's get into that Lions defense. They shut down the Vikings, who had been averaging like crazy points all season. We're talking double digits every game. The Vikings didn't even score a single touchdown, even though they got into the red zone, that area within the 20-yard line 4 times. How'd they manage that?
Well, I think a lot of the credit goes to Aaron Glenn.
The Lions defensive coordinator.
Right. He's not afraid to call aggressive plays. And this game, he really seemed to throw the Vikings quarterback, Sam Darnold, off his game.
Okay.
They played a lot of man coverage, where each defensive back is responsible for a specific receiver.
Isn't that risky, though?
Oh, it is.
Especially against receivers like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Those guys are like top tier.
It is risky, but this time it really, really paid off. Big time. Darnold usually throws for well over 200 yards, but the Lions, they hold him to a season low, only 166.
Oh.
They sacked him twice, hit him 10 times.
That's gotta hurt.
And the Vikings only converted 3 out of 16 third and fourth downs.
Ooh.
They even had 3 goal line stands where they completely shut down the Vikings just inches away from the end zone.
That's incredible. The defense was on fire. But what about their own quarterback, Jared Goff? He had, kind of a mixed game, didn't he?
He did. Threw 2 interceptions.
Not ideal.
Which is never what you want to see. Especially because, get this, they both happened right after the Lions defense forced turnovers on downs, deep in Vikings territory.
Hold on. Can you break down turnovers on downs for us?
Right. So basically, it means the Vikings had the ball and needed to get at least 10 yards for a first down.
Okay.
But they failed 4 plays in a row.
Ouch.
So the Lions got the ball back.
Okay.
In a fantastic position to score.
So Goff had the perfect chance to, build on the defense's momentum.
Exactly.
But he throws interceptions instead.
Yep. Not ideal. But it's important to remember, Goff wasn't a complete disaster when he wasn't stuck playing near his own end zone.
Right.
He actually, he found his groove.
Okay.
He connected with receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta.
They've been playing great.
Yeah, they're good. And scored touchdowns on all 3 of their trips to the red zone.
So it was like 2 different Goffs out there.
Pretty much. One under pressure, one totally in control.
Now that's interesting. But can we talk about the real start of this game?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs. The guy was electric.
He was amazing. His performance was the talk of the town.
Yeah.
He scored 4 touchdowns.
4?
4 touchdowns, setting a Lions franchise record with 20 total touchdowns in a single season.
Whoa.
Incredible.
4 touchdowns. That's insane. Give me the play-by-play. What were his best moments?
Okay, so his 25-yard touchdown run in the first quarter.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That really set the tone for the Lions.
For sure.
And then his clutch 4th down touchdown catch in the third quarter.
Yeah, that catch. That was a huge moment.
Oh, absolutely crucial. He also ran for 139 yards on 23 carries and caught 5 passes for 31 yards.
A complete game.
A complete game, yeah.
And remember, all this was while David Montgomery, their other running back, was out with that knee injury.
Right. Gibbs really had to step up.
And he did.
And boy, did he ever.
He's been amazing.
He's now rushed for over 100 yards in 3 straight games. Longest streak for a Lions running back since, get this, Barry Sanders back in '98.
Hold up, Barry Sanders. We're talking Hall of Fame territory. That's some elite company for Gibbs to be in.
Absolutely. He's an elite company. Gibbs has also really improved his pass protection this season.
That's great to hear.
He's become a more well-rounded player. And get this, he led the entire NFL in touchdowns this season with 20.
It sounds like he's become way more than just a speedy running back. He's a serious threat, both running and receiving. Do you think that kind of versatility is what gives the Lions an edge?
Oh, for sure. It adds a whole new dimension to their offense. Before Gibbs, they were, kind of predictable.
Right, leaning heavily on the run game and struggling to make those big plays in the passing game.
Exactly. But now, with Gibbs' speed and receiving skills,
Right.
defense has got to keep him in mind on every single play.
Yeah.
Constant threat to break a big play, whether he's running the ball or catching it out of the backfield.
So Goff's job's gotten a little easier.
Absolutely. Defenses can't just focus on stopping the run anymore.
Right, because Gibbs can burn them with his receiving.
Exactly.
So we've got this lockdown defense and a running back who's rewriting the record books. It makes you wonder, are we seeing a brand new era for the Lions?
It certainly feels that way.
Yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's dig a little deeper into Goff's performance. Those 2 interceptions,
Yeah.
a little concerning.
Definitely.
Especially given the context.
Yeah, what's your take on his ups and downs?
Well,
Because even with the great moments, those turnovers could have been disastrous.
yeah, for sure. Definitely something we need to look into. Yeah, those interceptions, those were something else, especially after, remember, the defense had just stopped the Vikings on those crucial 4th down attempts.
Right. The Vikings needed 10 yards for a first down and couldn't get it 4 plays in a row. Which means, by the way, for anyone new to football, the Lions got the ball back way closer to the end zone, so better chance to score.
Exactly. Should have been a slam dunk for the Lions to pull ahead. Instead, Goff throws those picks.
It felt like maybe he was just trying to do too much, with the game on the line and all.
Yeah, I could see that. Like he was overthinking it, especially backed up by his own end zone. The throws themselves, they weren't terrible, but not the smartest decisions.
So is this a pattern with Goff, do you think? Does he just crumble under pressure?
Well, I don't know about that. He did still end up with some decent stats.
True.
And away from his own end zone, he seemed to find his groove.
Right. He connected with St. Brown and Laporta for those touchdowns, and when the pressure wasn't on, he looked good.
Exactly. Plus, don't forget, the Lions were missing some key guys on offense, remember, because of those injuries. So they were playing backups in a few spots, and that can really mess with a quarterback's game.
Makes sense. So maybe we shouldn't be too quick to judge Goff when it comes to those high-pressure moments.
Probably not.
Yeah.
This game showed us the good and the bad. He's got the talent, no doubt, but he needs to work on staying calm when things get crazy.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how he does in the playoffs when the pressure's really on.
For sure. Playoffs are a whole different animal. That's when quarterbacks really prove themselves.
Okay, so let's talk about the head coach, Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, the kneecap biter.
Okay, let's maybe not focus on the kneecap biting, but seriously, he seems to have built something really special with this team.
Yeah, there's a different feeling around this Lions team compared to, the past few years. They're playing with a lot of heart, a lot of grit, and they really seem to believe in what Campbell's doing.
The article talked about how Campbell has really instilled this grit mentality in his players.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see it in the way they play.
It's not just about being tough, though. He's also put together a coaching staff that's, creative, adaptable. Think about Aaron Glenn on defense. He's not afraid to take risks and try new things.
And it's working. They're shutting down these offenses that were scoring like crazy earlier in the season.
Exactly. And Campbell, he just seems to know how to get the best out of his players. He's tough on them, pushes them to their limits, but he also understands them,
It feels like he's created this environment where the players feel supported, where they feel like they can take risks, play with confidence.
Absolutely. And that kind of culture, it spreads throughout the whole team, from the stars to the practice squad guys.
So do you think Campbell's leadership is a big reason why the Lions are doing so much better than anyone expected?
I think it's a huge reason, yeah. I mean, sure, you got to have talented players to win, but you also got to have a coach who can inspire them, who can motivate them, someone they can all believe in, and that's Campbell.
I think it's safe to say Dan Campbell is a coach to watch. He's brought a lot of excitement back to Detroit, and if they keep this up, who knows, maybe he can bring them a championship.
No, that would be something. A Detroit Lions Super Bowl. I can see the parade now down Woodward Avenue.
Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. They still have a long way to go. The playoffs are a whole different story. But it's safe to say the Lions are a team to watch out for.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. They've got the talent, they've got the coaching, and now they've got the belief.
So we talked about Gibbs's record-breaking game, but taking a step back, what are your thoughts on the running back position in the NFL overall? It feels like there's a whole new generation of these young, talented players coming up.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time for running backs. For a while there, it felt like the position was losing its value, teams focusing more on passing, but now it's coming back, and it's because of how versatile these young guys are. They can run, they can catch, they're just playmakers.
Right, guys like Gibbs, they can line up in the backfield, out wide, they can do it all. It's causing a lot of problems for defenses. It's almost like going back to the old days, those dual-threat running backs, but with a new twist.
Yeah, exactly. They're bringing this dynamic, unpredictable element to the game that's really fun to watch. And it's not just about their individual talent, it's about how they're being used in the offense, how they fit into the scheme.
So it's more about how teams are thinking about the running back position, right? A change in philosophy.
Yeah, I think so. We're seeing more coaches who are willing to get creative with their running backs, move them around, try different things, and it's making the game a lot more exciting.
That's what I love about the NFL. It's always changing. Just when you think you know what's going on, something new comes along and shakes things up.
It's one of the reasons why I love it too. There's always something new to learn, a new strategy to analyze, a new star player to celebrate. And speaking of stars, let's get back to those Lions. They locked down the #1 seed, which means home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
That's huge, especially for a team like the Lions, who have been so good at home this year.
Oh, yeah. Home field advantage, it can be a game changer, especially in the playoffs. The pressure's higher, the stakes are higher.
And don't forget, they also get a bye week, which means a week off to rest while other teams fight it out in the wild card round. With all the injuries they've had, that extra week could be the difference.
Absolutely. Time to recover, get healthy, and really focus on their game plan for whoever they face in the divisional round.
So we've got a well-rested Lions team playing at home in front of their fans, a coach who's instilled a grit mentality. Sounds like a winning combination to me.
On paper, yeah, it looks good. But we can't forget the playoffs are a different game. The competition is tougher, there's way more pressure, anything can happen.
True, but this Lions team, they've shown us they can handle it. They've battled through those injuries. They've bounced back from mistakes. They find ways to win. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make a deep run.
I wouldn't either. They're a team that's peaking at the right time. They're going to be tough to beat.
So we've talked about the Lions win, their playoff chances, but there's one more thing I want to touch on. We focused on their success, but let's not forget, for years, they were the team everyone laughed at, the perennial losers. What do you think this turnaround means for Detroit, for the city itself?
That's a really interesting question. Detroit's been through a lot, in the past few decades. But this city, it's got this spirit, this resilience. It's incredible.
It's a city that's proud of its history, proud of its working-class roots, and they love their sports teams. But it's been a long time since they've had a real contender, a team that gives them something to believe in.
And I think the Lions are giving them that hope again. You can feel it. The energy is different in the city. People are excited. They're wearing their Lions gear. They're packing Ford Field every week.
It's like the Lions are more than just a football team, They represent something bigger. The city's comeback, the idea that Detroit is back and ready to compete with the best.
Yeah, I think you're right. This isn't just about football. It's about civic pride. It's about believing in something. It's about everyone coming together and supporting a team that represents them.
And what would you say those values are?
Hard work, determination, resilience, the same values that have defined Detroit for, forever.
So it sounds like the Lions are more than just a team to the people of Detroit. They're a source of inspiration, a symbol of hope, a reminder that anything is possible if you believe and you're willing to fight for it.
Absolutely. And that's why this playoff run feels different. It's not just about winning a championship. It's about showing everyone that Detroit is back. And this time, it's for real.
So we talked about the Lions winning, their resilience, their impact on the city. But there's this other thing, right? The whole momentum thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, momentum, right. That thing you can't really touch, but it can totally make or break a team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And right now, I'd say the Lions have a lot of it.
They're on a roll, clinched the #1 seed, home field advantage. They fought through so much this season and came out on top. They've got that, swagger.
Yeah, and it's not just the wins, right? It's how they're winning. That grit, that determination, they never give up. Those come from behind wins. They show they can handle the pressure. when it really matters.
And then there's Gibbs. He's become a star, brought all this energy and excitement to the team, making those crazy plays, getting everyone fired up.
Exactly. That energy, it can change everything in the playoffs. It can turn things around, even when it seems like things are going wrong.
So you've got all this working for them, right? Strong record, tough team, swagger, a playmaker like Gibbs. But can they keep it going in the playoffs? Because we all know the playoffs are a whole different animal.
True. More pressure, tougher competition, one bad game, and you're done.
Right.
But I think this Lions team, they're tough mentally, They can handle it.
They've dealt with a lot this season, came out stronger. Their coach, he's all about that grit. And the players, they're hungry to prove themselves.
Right. And don't forget the fans. Ford Field, it's going to be wild in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They've been waiting for a team like this. They're going to bring it every game. Home field advantage is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Especially with how well they've played at home. So, yeah, I think they can keep this momentum going in the playoffs, maybe even get stronger under pressure. Yeah, I think so too. This team, they believe they can do something special. It's not just about making the playoffs. They want the Super Bowl.
And hey, maybe they can. They've surprised everyone all season. Why stop now?
So wrapping up, I think it's safe to say the Detroit Lions, they're a team to watch in the playoffs.
They've got a story that's not finished yet, a story that's captured the whole city. They're showing everyone anything is possible if you believe, if you're willing to fight for it.
It's been great breaking down this Lions victory with you. Can't wait to see what happens next.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We covered a lot. Goff's good and bad moments, Campbell's leadership, the Lions' playoff chances.
Great discussion. I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
Get ready for an exciting playoff run. The Lions are roaring, and they might just turn the whole NFL upside down.
Until next time, everyone, keep believing in the power of momentum. And go Lions!